Good evening, all of you. So, in today's class, we will be discussing about two good projects. One is we will be discussing about the light intensity control bulb and its applications, and we'll see that how in cricket stadium and all that this kind of light intensity based uh, embedded system is implemented there. Okay, we'll see that. And one more project we will see, that is distance calculator. So we'll see that suppose if you have to find out a distance from some place, then how we can do that. And we'll also see its application, where this can be applied. So there are many various applications are there where this distance calculator is actually uh, implemented, and it has vast use these days. Okay, so we'll see which all sensors are used here, which all output devices are used here. We'll also see that how they are connected with the microcontroller, and we also will see also the connections of that and we'll try to understand even the coding part, that how the sensors, the data whichever is coming from those sensors, how that are getting processed by our program, and the results are shown. Okay, so let's get started, guys. So first of all, we'll see about that light intensity control bulb, and then we'll move to the distance calculator part. Okay, so let's try to understand. So today, I'm not keeping any PPT. We'll try to directly jump to the Tinkercad website. You all know. So in that website, you all know we can develop projects. Okay, you have to just sign in and get yourself ready. So this is the website, tinkercad.com. Dashboard will be there. Okay, and then you can just click on this sign in. I've already signed in, and from here you can see there's a circuit option. You can go to the circuit option and you can try circuits, or you can even create your own circuits. Okay, so for today you can see 2 to 3 examples I have prepared for you. You can go, we will see all of them and we'll try to understand. So suppose if you want to start from beginning, you can click on this create new circuit. Okay, so when you click on this create new circuit, you get a new dashboard kind of like this. And here on this white screen which you are seeing here, okay, this white screen which you are seeing here you can create your own project. Okay, and using your own project uh, you can run your, I mean, you can completely prepare your circuit diagram and you can run your project. Okay, so if you want to create your project, you can see there is a search box here. So in this search box, whatever component you require, that component you can search out and you can then drag and drop it here. Okay, like the first one I told you, we'll be doing the very basic one, that is light intensity control bulb. Okay, so in order to control the light intensity, so or if you want to find out about the light intensity, that how much light intensity is there, there is a sensor called LDR. So a light dependent resistor, there is a sensor called LDR. Okay, so we'll study about this LDR sensor and we'll try to understand that how this LDR sensor can be connected and how this actually helps in giving the light intensity. Okay, and based on that we'll connect few LED bulbs and we'll try to see how this LDR can be utilized for switching on the bulbs and and switching off the bulbs. Okay, so in order to understand this, let's try to uh, move to one example. So already, if you can see, I have taken one example for you guys. In order to just to save time, I have prepared a simple example for you guys. So you don't have to do anything. You have to just after preparing this basic layout, you can just directly go to this search window and you can start searching LDR. If you write, so you will be able to uh, you will be able to, if you just come to this part and you can see it's in this, it is also referred as photoresistor. Okay, so it's not that everywhere you will find LDR only written. So you can even search them with the help of some other words, because LDRs are also referred as photoregisters. Okay, if you just write photo EHO, you will get all the options. Okay, so you can just directly search photo register, you will get like this. Okay, so what we have to do is, so if you look at this example which I have already prepared, you can see we require what? We require, if you can see, we require Arduino board, we require LEDs, okay, we require registers, okay, and we require the photo register, as you can see here. Okay, so these are some parts which we require. So Arduino board, LED, and this photo register, and even we require register. So how to get these all parts? Very simple. What we will be doing is, we have to just click on this search button and we have to search it. So if you write LED, you'll get different kinds of LED here. You can see here. Okay. What we'll do, we'll just select it and we'll just drag and put it here. Okay. Suppose you want register. Okay. If you just write RE register, if you write like this, you see this is a register, you will get register. Okay, similarly you can just drag and drop all the components which you require. You can drag and drop, and later on you can connect all of them. Okay, so just to make it a easy way, I'll just do one thing. I'll just drag everything. I mean, I have already dragged, you can see, one LED bulb, one photo register, and one simple register. Okay, and even I'll just drag the Arduino board so that I can just show you how we can connect all of them. Okay, suppose I have just taken this Arduino board and I've just dropped it here. Okay, so you can see, I'll just keep it this one this side so that it will be easy. Okay, so this is the Arduino board. So if you have to connect any part, it's very simple. So as if you look carefully, if you have to connect any part, just go to that part, you will get the option of connection. Okay, so you can see an arrow can come out and you can just connect anywhere, any pin. You can see when you go to any pin, it says D8, D7, D9. Okay, so D stands for digital pin. Okay, so you can go, if you go to this part, it says A3, A4, A21. A means analog pin. Okay, so similarly here you can see ground, 5 volt. So different pins are there. So as per the requirement, you have to connect. Okay, so this is the important part. If you look carefully here in this diagram, what we have done is, we have connected all the parts here. Okay, so if you look carefully, what we have done, if you look carefully, you can see this is your LED bulb, the red LED bulb I have taken here. You can even change the color. When you select the bulb, here the options of color comes. You can choose any color as per your requirement or as per your interest. Okay, and this is your cathode part, and cathode should always be connected to the ground part. So you will just directly, I'll just show you. You will just go and select it, and directly you will just go to the ground. Once you go to the ground pin, directly G and D will be highlighted. Once G and D comes, you can just click and that will be connected. And if you want to change the color, you can just click on this part and you can change the color of the wire. Okay, so you can see both the LED bulbs which you can see here, both the LED bulb, this LED bulb and this LED bulb, the cathode part is directly connected to the ground part. Okay, now in order to connect the other part, what we have to do, we have to first of all add one register. Okay, so that register value is also very important. So if you just click on the register, you can directly do one thing, that is you can change the values. Okay, so like if you just click on the register, but you have to keep in mind, if you want to change the value, before connecting you have to change the value. Okay, like if you are connecting and then you are trying to change the value, you cannot do it. Okay, so if you just look here, in this case, the register value is kept as 220 ohm. Okay, so whenever you are connecting LED with register, or whenever you are connecting LED, make sure that you have to connect a resistor along with that. Okay, why I am saying this, because these LED bulbs, if you are directly connecting without resistor, they will be burn off. Okay, they cannot resist a voltage supply of 5 volt. Okay, they generally work on 2.2 volt to 3 volt, not more than that. Okay, so we have to connect a resistor in series so that voltage drop will be there, so that LED will be working very perfectly. Okay, so generally 220 ohm resistor is good to connect. Okay, so you can connect in this format, and you can just connect to the pin whichever you want. So you can see I have taken two LED bulbs, and both LED bulbs are connected in a two different channels. So you can see the green LED bulb is connected to pin number 3, and the blue LED bulb is connected to pin number 4. Okay, you can choose any pin as per your requirement, and you can connect it. Okay, so this is very important. You should remember what connections you are making. If you make a wrong connection, even if your code is correct, everything is correct, it will not work. Okay, so here as you can see I have connected, or you can write down, the blue pin is connected to pin number 4, and the green LED is connected to pin number 3. Okay, so I hope you have understood the connection part. I'm just removing the other things, the other devices which I've just taken here, which is not required here. Okay. But to make you understand, I have taken. So now if you have to connect the register, the photoresistor, what you will do, you will connect in this format. Okay, it's very simple. The one end, okay, it has two ends, both are actually, this photoresistor is actually a resistor only. Okay, so it doesn't have like it doesn't have any polarity kind of. Okay, so you can connect it anyway. You can connect it directly from terminal 1 also, you can connect from terminal 2 also. Okay, so here what I have done is I have taken two terminals. Okay, I have taken, as you can see properly, it's visible also. I have directly connected one terminal to the ground, to the 5 volt, and other terminal, what I have done, I have connected with a resistor. Okay, I have connected with a resistor. You can see very carefully, if you look here, you can understand. So one terminal I have connected with 5 volt, and other terminal is going through resistor to ground, and from there parallelly it is also going to A0. Okay, so once you do this, what happens? Uh, this will give you a good connection, and there will not be any issue. Okay, so if you connect in this format, your photoresistor will work well. Okay, so I hope you have understood how this connection can be done. If any query is there, you can write in the chat box. Okay, so I will repeat once more. The connection is very simple if you look carefully. I hope it is visible to all of you. So one end of photoresistor is connected to 5 volt, and other end is connected to ground as well as A0 parallelly through the resistor. Okay, and on top already you have understood, the one LED is connected to blue one, that is going to channel number 4, and other LED is connected to channel number 3. And make sure guys that whenever you are connecting, all the connections are correct. If you just try to move any device, make sure that they are connected. It's like if you move any device anywhere, and if that is not connected, then the circuit will not be complete, and you will not get the correct result. Okay, so you can just move everything here and there and see that each and every wire which is the part of the circuit should be connected. Okay, otherwise whatever result you want, that result you will not get. Okay, so before understanding the coding section, let's first of all write down in short what we have done the connection. Okay, so in short I'll write here. So our blue LED, I'll write as B. Blue LED is connected to pin number 4. Okay, the green LED is connected to pin number 3. Okay, and our photoresistor is connected to A0. Okay, so this is the connection which we have done here. Okay, so if suppose any change is there in the coding part, accordingly we can change it. Okay, so this connection should be very clear. If you have any doubt in the connection part, you can ask. Okay. So if anyone is having any doubt, you can ask. If there is no doubt, then we can proceed forward. So just to make it easier, I'm taking both LED as red so that you can distinguish and understand. So I have executed the project. You can see one LED is on now and other LED is off. Okay. So when I move from one end to other end, you can see the LEDs are switching from on to off case. Okay. You can observe carefully. If you're not able to observe carefully, just try to listen me, and I'm just trying to zoom it a little bit so that it will be visible to you. Okay. So once your circuit is complete, you can click on this start simulation. Then what will happen? Your project will be in the running format. Okay. Now once your project is running, can you observe? And if you can observe carefully, if you look here, this LED is off. Okay. This is off. Okay. And if you look at this LED is on. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the value of photoregister. Okay. So once you click on this photoregister, you can see it shows sun in one end, and other side it is shows dark. Okay. And this is the one which moves. Okay. So now I'm trying to move towards sunlight. So if you look carefully, once I'm moving towards sunlight, you will observe that there is a change in the glow of the LEDs. Okay. Now if I just move towards sunlight, can you see that the LED which was on has become off, the LED which was off has become on. Okay. So I've just highlighted in front of you only. Now if I try to move it to the other way and just observe carefully, now the LED has changed its way. So now you can see the LED which is connected to pin number 4 is on, and the LED which is connected to pin number 3 is off. Okay. So what basically has happened here? Okay, now let's try to understand with the example. So if you remember, when you go to, or if you have seen a day-night match, there what happens? As soon as the night approaches, what happens? The light intensity starts falling. Okay. Now when the light intensity is falling, what should happen? The LED bulbs which is connected throughout the stadium should start switching on in such a way that light intensity should be maintained as per the day conditions. Okay. So that the players can play well. Okay. Getting my point? So the same scenario we are trying to create here. Okay. So if you look here, what we have done is, in order to make you understand, I have taken two LED bulbs and I have made them in such a way that if it is night time, the pin number 4 LED will be on, and as soon as the daytime approaches, the pin number 3 LED will be switched on and pin number 4 LED will be turned off. Okay, just to make you understand that as the intensity of light changes, so the LED bulbs also change their values. Okay, so if you now observe carefully, I'm now moving from night time to daytime. Okay, and when I move from night time to daytime, you can observe that there is a small change, that is LED connected to pin number 3 has now become on and LED connected to pin number 4 has become off. Okay, just the reverse has occurred. Now how this actually happened? Okay, so if you want to understand that, let's move to the coding part. Okay, so this is the coding section. So before understanding the coding section, if you look at the serial monitor, okay, there is something called serial monitor also. So if you look at this part, this is called serial monitor. Okay, and you can see the values coming up here. Okay, So if I just try to again move from day to night, you can see the value is changing. Okay, so you can see the value is changing. Yes, so you can see now the value has become 54. Earlier, what was the value? If I just move it this way, you can see the value is 900. Okay, now depending upon different registers you connect here, you get smoother values here. Okay, so it's up to you what kind of connection you are making here. Okay, so if I just keep a short one, so if I move to the daytime, the value is around 972, and if I directly move to the night time, the value is around 54. Okay, that two things I can see in the serial monitor. Yes or no, guys? Okay, now based on this, I'll be programming my both LEDs and we'll try to see how we have done it. Okay, so if you just look here, this is the coding part. So what I have done is I have taken two LEDs. So as you have seen, I have marked them as red and green. So that I have taken the variable also here as red and green. You can take any variable name, it's up to you, but it should be of integer type that you have to keep in mind. Okay. So red pin is marked with 4 and green pin is marked with 3. Okay. So if you want, I can do that also. So you can just see like pin number 4 is marked as red and 3 is marked as green. So you can move to this one and you can mark it as green like this. Okay, it's as simple as you can see here. Okay, now once you have done that, you also have to configure your photo register. So as you can see here, our photo register is connected to pin number A0. Okay, so that is marked here as LDR pin. So LDR pin is marked as A0. Okay guys, now if you have understood this much, let's proceed forward and let's try to understand the simple code present in void setup and void loop. Okay, so this void setup and void loop is important. Okay, look carefully guys. So in void setup, what we have done, we have just set our both digital pin, that is red LED and green LED, as output with the help of function pin mode. If you remember, I have taught you one function called pin mode. Through this pin, what we can do, we can select any channel and we can mark it as an input channel or a output channel as per the requirement. Okay, so it's up to you, whatever you want you can write down. Okay, so whatever value is important you can write down. I mean, there's uh, no distinction that you can use any variable. Only you have to keep in mind is that if it is a output channel, you have to write here output, and if it is an input channel, you have to write input. Just make sure that you should write output and input in the block letter. Okay, it is actually case sensitive. Now what we have done, we have activated the serial monitor. So this serial monitor which you are seeing here, that serial monitor, if you want to activate, you have to write serial.begin function. The serial.begin function is a function which activates the serial monitor, and the value which is printed here is actually I mean printed with a some rate of printing is there. Okay, that's called as baud rate. If you remember, when I was teaching you serial communication, we talked about baud rate. Okay, so bits per second. Okay, so generally it's 9600 bits per second. Okay, so that I have kept here, 9600 bits per second. Now you all know that this void setup will be executed only once. This will be selecting and activating channel number 3 and 4 as output channel. It will activate the serial communication and set the baud rate as 9600. Okay, so once that much is done, we'll directly move to the void loop part and we'll just execute the void loop part. Okay, now in void loop part, what we have done, we have taken one more variable. You can keep any name as per your choice. Okay, so I have called the function analog read. Okay, now this analog read function, actually what it does, it reads the data from the analog channels. Okay, so total we have 6 channels, A0, A1, A2 till A5. You can connect anywhere, and if you want to read data from that channel, okay, from any sensor, you want to read the data and you want to pass on to the microcontroller present inside the Arduino board, you will call the function analog read. Okay, and you have to pass on the channel. Okay, so either you can write directly the channel name, that is A0, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, or you can write down the variable. So as you can see on top, we have taken A0 as LDR pin. Okay, so based on that we have written here LDR pin. Okay, so what will happen? So analog read function will be executed. It will take data from the photo register. Okay, and it will read that data and it will store it inside the variable whatever you have taken here. Okay, now what we'll do, we'll also try to print that variable. Okay, so whatever your value you are seeing here, that 54 which is present here, suppose I'm starting the simulation, and suppose if I again try to change the value, you can see here. So you can see now its value is 890. Okay, so whatever value you are seeing on the serial monitor, that is just because of this serial.println function. Okay, so what this serial.println function does, it prints the value, it prints whatever you want. Okay, so you can see in the println it is asked for a parameter, and we whatever value we got in this variable, that value we have passed on here. Okay, so because of that, that value is getting printed here. Okay, 890 is getting printed here. Okay, I hope you're getting my point. Clear? Now once we have the value, that photo register value we have, now what we can do is we can write some if condition, and based on that we can perform our task. Okay, so what we actually have to do is we have to sense the daylight. Okay, so what I have done the project as, if daylight is there then do something, and if daylight is not there then do something. So if you observe carefully, when I am moving towards the night, I can see the value 54 is coming here. So 54 value shows me that it's night time, and when I'm moving towards daylight, it is showing me value around 974. Okay, so if I just keep it in middle somewhere, like if you consider, then you can say that around 700 or 800 can be the value which from where daylight is starting. Okay, you can see like that. Okay, now in the cricket stadium and all, this photo register is very perfect one. For every value, they are calculating the light intensity. Okay, so it's working very perfectly there. So for every change in the value, light intensity will change, and based on that they will switch on one LED bulb. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that here what I have done is I have taken a if condition, as you can see here, and I have written here that if that value is less than 700, if that value is less than 700, it means it is night time. Okay, and in that case I have switched on my red LED, and if it is daytime, my green LED should be on. Okay, so if it is less than 700, my red LED will be switched on. So you can see here in this case, as I am in the night spot, you can see I am the night spot part, and my red LED is glowing here. Okay, and if I try to move, and if I try to go to the daytime, you can see here I'm trying to go to daytime, and you can see the value also is changing, and now it is 947, and you can now observe carefully that now the green LED is switched on and the red LED is switched off. Okay, so for that what I have done, I have written a simple if condition. So if you look carefully and look at this if else part, so if the value is less than 700, what I have done, I have called one more function. That function is called as digital write function. Okay, so digital write function helps us to write something through that channel. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is, if the value is less than 700, then what I have to do, I have to switch off my green LED and switch on my red LED. Okay, so digital write will require two parameters. First one, which channel you want to work on and what value you want to pass. Okay, so green LED, I'm writing here green LED, and I'm marking it as low. So what will happen? It will be making my green LED as off, and again I'm writing the same function and I'm writing the red LED high. So it will be making my red LED as high. Okay, so if this condition will be true only when the value of photo register is less than 700. Okay, otherwise there is a else part. in the else part, what I have done, I have just reversed it. Means if the value is greater than 700, then what will happen? The digital read value of green will be turned as high and the red will be low. Okay, so if you have just listened very carefully, I'm sure you might have understood. And if I just try to rerun the program and just try to show you, just observe carefully, guys. So if you look carefully, now the value of photoregister is showing as 54. So what should be the case? So it is less than 700, yes or no? So less than 700 means the green LED should be low and red LED should be high. So if you look carefully, our red LED is showing as high and our green LED is showing as low. Okay. So now if I try to move towards daylight, and if you can see now value of in the serial monitor, you can see the value has become 974. Now what will happen? This condition will become false and we'll move to the else part, and in that else part you can see it says that green LED should be high and red LED should be low, and that you can observe in the output also. Okay, so if you now look carefully, the green LED is turned high whereas the red LED is turned as low. I hope you're getting my point. Okay, so this simple program helps us to understand, and it also helps us to process the data coming from the photoregister. Okay, so different things can be done. If you want, you can try some other project and try to execute it. Okay, so I just leave on you, give a try. You can connect more number of LEDs, or you can try some other innovative idea and try to execute your program. Okay, it's a very simple one. I hope you have understood. Okay, if anyone has any query, you can ask. If there is no query, then we can proceed forward. Okay, so I hope it's clear to all of you. Similarly, there is one more project. Just to keep the interest, I have taken one more project. So you can see here, in this project I have taken a photoregister and I have connected one alarm. Okay, so this is called as piezoelectric alarm. Okay, now this alarm is actually working based on a simple logic. Like suppose at your home you want that as soon as it is daytime, alarm should be turned on. Okay, so what will happen? If it is daytime, the alarm will be turned on and you don't have to set any alarm. Okay, I mean every time when it comes day, the alarm, automatically this alarm will be switched on and you will come to know, okay, that it is daytime. Okay, so for that small project I have taken this as example. So here I have just connected a piezo buzzer, and if you look carefully, I have connected the piezo buzzer to ground and pin number 11. Okay, so this is a output device, so I have connected to a digital pin, that is pin number 11. And as I required what I'm trying to say is I required photoregister, so I've connected a photoregister in the same fashion. You can see here I have connected to A0. Okay, now what I will do is I'll try to just create a logic. So logic is that if I'm just trying to simulate it. Okay, so you can see, so when it is night time, my buzzer is off, yes or no? Now when I'm moving towards daytime, so what will happen? You can see my buzzer has started giving me the alarm and saying that it's daytime, and again when it will become night time, the buzzer will be switched off. Okay, I hope you're getting my point. Clear, guys? So it's a very simple program just to make you understand the application of this LDR or photoregister. Okay, now in this case, if you look carefully, let's try to write down the pins which we have taken here. So if you look carefully, we have taken this buzzer, I write as B here, and the buzzer is connected to pin number 11. Okay, and if you look at your photoregister, your photoregister is connected to A0. Okay, so what I will do, I'll write here photoregister PR. Okay, and this is connected to pin A0. Getting my point, guys? Okay. So it should be very, very clear, guys. Okay. That what we are trying to understand should be very, very clear. So in short, if I try to repeat once more, this project is trying to make you understand about that how if it is daylight, then I can switch off an alarm, and as soon as the daylight approaches, I can switch on the alarm, so that if there are children, they can listen the alarm and they can understand that day has come up and they will wake up. Okay. So if you want to execute this kind of simple project, what kind of code should be there? Okay. So if you remember the last code, similar kind of code we have to write here. Okay. So if you just move to the coding part, it's very simple. So I hope it is visible also. So here you can, if you look carefully, so I have taken the sensor pin, as I told you, it's as A0, and the buzzer I have taken as 11. Okay, you can take any variable name as per your requirement. And I have taken one more variable that is called light value. In order to calculate the light value and to store somewhere, I have taken a variable called light value. Okay. Now in the setup part, if you look carefully, what I have done, I have made the buzzer as output and sensor pin as input. So this sensor pin as input, if you remember last time I have not written. Okay. So by default it is actually input only. Okay. If you don't write, then also it is okay. But it is advisable that you should write, because we don't know when the value is changed. Okay. So whenever you want to use something, make sure that before using, you set it yourself. Okay. You should not believe on the by default value. Okay. So here I am setting my sensor pin as input and my buzzer as output. And I am also activating the serial monitor by writing the function serial.begin and passing the baud rate value as 9600. Okay. Now we'll move to the void loop section and we'll try to understand what is going on here. Okay. So here again, as you know, we have a photo register. So what we have to do, we have to read the value from the photo register. And for that, we have the function analog read. So whenever you are having any kind of analog device, analog sensor, we will always call the analog read function to read the data from that. Okay, keep that in mind. So you can use any channel from A0 to A5. So by default, we have taken here A0 only, which is saved in the variable sensor pin. So once analog read will be reading the data, it will be reading the data and will storing in the variable light val, and that we are trying to print out here as println under the function serial.println. Okay, with the help of this serial.println, we are printing in the serial monitor. Okay, and in order to switch on the buzzer and switch off the buzzer, there's a function called tone. Okay, so with the help of this tone function, we can switch on the buzzer or switch off the buzzer. Okay, so what I've done is I have set, if the light value is greater than 350, it's up to you, you can set any value as per your requirement. Okay, like suppose you can adjust it. Suppose in the morning time you just create the circuit and you just read the serial monitor value. Suppose during the morning time it says that 400, so you can set 400 value. It's up to you. Okay, you can just randomly check and set the value. Okay, so here we have set 350. So if the value it becomes more than 350, the alarm will be switched on, and for that you will call the function tone. Okay, now if you have any doubt in understanding what this from where I'll get these functions, so you can directly move to this Arduino website, that's called arduino.cc. In this website, all the basic functions are present here. Okay, so you can see there is a function called tone here. Can you see? So if you click tone and no tone, so we are going to use both the functions here. Okay, so if you look carefully, here we have used here we have used just a second. Yeah, so you can see here I've used no tone function to switch off the buzzer, and I've used tone function to switch on the buzzer. Okay, so you can just call this tone function. So in this tone function, it is asking three parameters. One is from which pin you want to send the tone out, what frequency you want, and for what duration you want the tone should be on. Okay, this duration is actually optional. Okay, if you are not setting the duration, then also it is okay. Otherwise, if you want that, okay, for this much milliseconds I want the alarm should be on, you can set the duration as well. Okay, so as you can see here in our in our program, we have set the buzz as the variable, as a channel. You know that buzz is connected to pin number 11, so it is specifying that pin number 11. From there the tone sound should come out, and frequency you can set any value. I have set here 1000, you can set 500, 400, whatever you want. Whatever frequency you will set here, based on that different sounds will be coming here. That is the only difference. Okay, and 100 millisecond value I have set here. Okay, now once there will be light intensity value greater than 350, that buzzer will be switched on at frequency of 1000 for 100 millisecond. Okay, if the value of light variable is not greater than 350, then there will be no tone. That is the program which we have written here. So if we just try to execute the program, and as you can see, just now the value is showing as 6. Okay, so if the value is showing as 6, there is no sound. Now if you try to move it, and you can see now it is 252, so still the value is less than 350. That's why the buzzer is not switched on. Now if I try to move it a little bit forward, now see, now it's more than 400, more than 350, and now you can see the buzzer is turned on. Okay, so what I'm trying to make you understand is that if the value goes more than 350, the buzzer will be turned on. If the value is less than 350, the buzzer will be turned off. Okay, so there are various applications of this photoregister. 2 applications I have shown you. Okay, you can try yourself more applications and try to analyze yourself and understand and execute the things. Okay, now moving to one next project, which is again a very simple one, that is called as ultrasonic sensor. Okay, we were talking about distance calculation. So for distance calculation, the one simple sensor is there, that's called ultrasonic sensor, which looks something like this. Okay, as I have just highlighted here, you can see. So this is your ultrasonic sensor. So the ultrasonic sensor actually works on a very simple way. As you can see, there are 2 eyes kind of. So one is sending the ultrasonic sensor, and other one is receiving it. Okay, so based on that, you can see there are 2 pins also. Okay, so one pin is referred as trigger, and other pin is referred as echo. So trigger means it is sending the ultrasonic sound outside, and if there is a obstacle, then what will happen? You know, whenever there is an obstacle, the sound frequency reflects back. Yes or no? So that will be referred as echo. Okay, so if there is any obstacle, there will be a echo, and the echo will be received by this part. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if you want to find out a distance from one place to other place, you can place an obstacle at that place, and then what will happen? The sound waves will reflect back as the echo, and based on that, this sensor can calculate and give you the distance. Okay, so we'll see that how we are able to do that. Okay, so in order to understand this, it's let's take it an example. Okay, so in order to make you understand this, I've taken this as a very simple example. So what I've done is I have taken 3 LEDs. Okay, and if you look carefully, the 3 LEDs are connected. One of them is connected to pin number 2, other is connected to pin number 3, and the next one is connected to pin number 4. I'm not connecting again here. Okay, the connection is very simple, guys. Okay, you can connect yourself. It is very simple. Okay, just you have to go to that point, then click there and go to the other point. Just to make you understand, I'm just removing one of them and just trying to show you. So you can see the LED anode is connected here, so you can choose any point because all of them are having the same value. So you can just, I made a click. When you click, you will see one wire has been now connected to it, and you have to just connect to pin number 2. You can directly also connect, but the design doesn't look good. So what I will do, I'll just click here, so it will now stop at that place. Okay, and from there it's up to you. You can just do whatever you want, and you can just connect it. Okay, just make sure that the connection is correct. Okay, so once you connect all the pins, your your device will look something like this. You can complete circuit diagram will look something like this. Okay, so I have taken 3 LEDs here, 3 red LEDs, and I have connected one of them to the ground part and other I have connected to the pin number 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so you can see I have taken one green wire. I have taken this green wire from the ground here. I have taken and I have connected this green wire uh, to this minus part. You can see it's written here. So this complete channel is ground. Okay, and I have taken also one white wire. Maybe it's not visible here, but okay, I'll change the color. I'm just making it red. Okay, now you can able to see. I've taken one red wire, and this red wire is coming from where? 5 volt. You can see here, and that 5 volt I'm passing on to the breadboard to the plus wire. So this all is having 5 volt. Okay, so what I am done is, for the LEDs I require ground, so I've taken a resistor, I've connected it to the ground everywhere, and another pin I've connected to pin numbers 2, 3 and 4 respectively for the 3 LEDs. Okay, now coming to the register part, to the ultrasonic sensor, and let's try to understand how we can connect it. Okay, so if you look carefully in the ultrasonic, there are 4 pins shown here. One is VCC, trigger, echo and ground. Okay, so VCC will be connecting to VCC. You can see here this plus is all having VCC, so you can directly connect from here to here, and this will be connected to VCC, and the ground I am connected to this part. Now we have only 2 pins left. One is called trigger, another is echo. Okay, so in order to connect that, you can see what I have taken. I have taken 2 more again pins, that is pin number 7 and 6. So pin number 7 is connected to trigger and pin number 6 is connected to echo. You have to keep this in mind. Okay guys, so now total 5 pins we have taken. 2, 3 and 4 we have connected to LEDs, and pin number 6 and 7 is connected to the ultrasonic sensor, where pin number 7 is connected to trigger and pin number 6 is connected to echo. Okay, this you have to keep in mind. So it's better, I'm just giving you 30 seconds time, better you write down. Pin number 2, 3 and 4 is connected to LED, pin number 7 is connected to trigger and pin number 6 is connected to echo. Okay, so this kind of connection you have to do. If you find any problem in connecting it, you can talk to me. I have already shared my WhatsApp number. You can talk to me. I will help you in again connecting it. And once you have done the complete connection part, what we have to do is we have to write a program and calculate the distance, and based on that distance you can, what we are trying to do is we are going to switch on these LEDs. Okay, like suppose if the distance is very less, only one LED will be switched on. If distance is more, next 2 LEDs will be following it. So before writing the program, we also have to understand that how this ultrasonic sensor is calculating the distance. Okay, so actually this ultrasonic sensor is not calculating the distance, it is calculating the time. Okay, and you all know that distance, in order to find out distance, that is equal to distance is equal to speed into time. Yes or no? So time, it is actually giving us time, and speed already we know. Okay, because this echo and this all is traveling at a speed of sound. Okay, so sound speed already we know. So if you have any doubt in the speed of sound, already I have taken from the Wikipedia. So at different temperature, different sound speed is there. So I'm taking as a room temperature around 25 degrees Celsius. The speed of sound is around 346 meter per second. Okay, so I'm just considering this as a sound speed. Now based on this, we'll be calculating the distance. So distance is equal to speed into time. So this ultrasonic sensor, it will be calculating the speed at the time and will be giving us. So for that purpose, we have one function that is called pulse in. Okay, so we'll see this function pulse in, how it helps us and in giving the time. Okay, so in order to proceed forward, let's directly move to the coding section and let's try to understand the code. And I hope once you understand the code, you will also understand in detail that how the time is calculated. Okay, so don't worry, don't look at this code. I mean, don't feel that the code is very big, very huge and all. Okay, it's not so huge. It's very simple. Okay, so let's try to understand from the starting. So here what I have taken one variable called centimeter and I have marked it as 0. So we'll see where I'm using it. And I've created a user defined function that is read ultrasonic distance. So it's not a predefined function, it is a user defined function. Okay, so read ultrasonic distance is the function which I have taken, and whenever this function is called, I am passing trigger pin value, trigger pin number and echo pin number I am passing. Okay, so you can take any pin as per your requirement. There are many digital pins left. You can take any one of them, any two of them. So, and you have to pass on when you're calling this function. So if you look carefully here, when I'm calling the function, so you can see here, so this read ultrasonic, and here I'm passing here 7 and 6 as I told you. Okay, so whichever pin you are interested in, you can set it, and based on that you can change the value here. Okay, so whatever pin you are setting, based on that, this code which you are seeing here, this will be helping us to calculate the time, and based on that we'll be getting the distance, because speed already we know. So once we get time, so distance equal to speed into time will do, and we'll get the value. Okay, now when you are calculating speed, distance equal to speed into time, if you look carefully, the sound waves is going to the obstacle and again returning back. Yes or no? So actually, in that much time, the distance is actually 2 times the distance has been calculated. If you can observe, understand my point. Okay, so what we'll do is whatever distance we are getting, that is actually divided by 2. So whatever distance we'll get, that is already divided by 2. Okay, so for that, what I have done is I have just divided the sound value by 2 and I have taken into consideration, because whatever value you are getting, you have to divide by 2. Then it's better you divide earlier only the sound value by 2 and then you use it as a value. Okay, so if you look carefully what we have done here, first of all, in the setup part, let's move to the setup part. In the setup part, what we have done, we have set all the 3 LEDs as output, because all LEDs are always output channel, will always be always connected to the output channel. So I marked them as output. Okay, now after doing this, let's move to the loop part and let's see in the loop part what we have done. So in the loop part, what we are doing, we're directly first of all calling the read ultrasonic distance function, and we are passing 7 and 6 as trigger pin and echo pin respectively. So directly let's move to the read ultrasonic distance function and let's try to understand this. Okay, now this is important. If you don't understand this, you will not be able to reprogram yourself or any other part. If you try to use it anywhere in any other project, if you try to use it, you won't be able to do it. So listen very carefully. Okay, so here what we are doing, first of all, we are setting the trigger pin as output pin, because I just now told you from the trigger pin we are sending the data outside. Okay, so that data has to come through the Arduino board. Okay, so that's why we are setting pin number, that is a trigger pin, as output pin, and then we are passing the low value from there. So you can see we have written the next command as digital write. Okay, so from that trigger pin we are sending a low value. Okay, and after 2 milliseconds we are again sending a high value, and after 10 seconds again we are sending the low value. Means what actually is done is we are sending a pulse. Okay, means earlier it is low for 2 milliseconds, then it is high for 10 milliseconds, and again it is low. Okay, so what actually happened, total in 12 milliseconds, means 2 milliseconds it will be off, again for next 10 milliseconds it will be sending a pulse, then again it will be switched off for 2 milliseconds, again it will send the pulse of 10 milliseconds. So at regular intervals the pulse is getting sent. Okay, so what will happen, whenever there will be an obstacle, uh, it will be reflected back, and then the echo pin will be able to receive it. Okay, so you can see once the trigger pin has sent the signal, we are setting the echo pin as input pin and we are waiting whether it has received any value or not. Okay, so for that, what we are doing, we are just calling the function pulse in. Okay, now what this pulse in function does, it is connected with the echo pin, and whenever the echo is received, it will be calculating the time. Okay, from once the trigger is there, from trigger, and once the echo pin is receiving the sound, till that time, how much time is spent, that time it is calculating with the help of pulse in function. Okay, so I'll repeat once more. This pulse in function is used to calculate the time. Okay, so what we have, so how it is doing it, it is once the trigger function will start, from that time till echo, once echo is received, it will calculate the time. Okay, so once you have this function, this function will return the time, and that time I have multiplied with 0.01723. So what is this 0.01723? It is actually I wanted the value in centimeter, so I just first of all converted this speed into centimeter per second. Okay, and then I've divided by 2, so you will get the value as 0.01723. You give a try yourself, guys. Okay, even I have taken the converter, you can see here. So 3416 meter per second, if I'm converting into centimeter, I'm getting this. And if you try to divide this by 2, you can see it's 34. 17 2s are 34. It is 17 2s are 34. Something 17 will be there. Okay, so that only you can see, that is 0.01723. Okay, so this value we are getting, and once we are multiplying, we are getting the value in centimeter, and that only we are returning here. So that value is now received by centimeter variable. Okay, and that we are trying to print here. Okay, now what we are trying to do is, if that value is less than 250, that centimeter value is less than 250, then all the three LEDs is turned off. Okay, so if you just start the simulation, and if you look carefully, you can see all the three LEDs are on now. Why? Because centimeter value is just a second, guys. So if centimeter value is greater than 250, then what do we have to do? We have to, you can write any condition as per your requirement. Okay, so if you look carefully here, so whatever centimeter value you are setting, based on that you can set the things. Okay, so if you look at the logic which we have written here, so if you look at the logic says that if centimeter value is greater than 250, we have to set all the three pins 2, 3 and 4 as low. Okay, and if the value is between 250 to 175, we are setting pin 2 as high. Okay, similarly, if it is between 175 to 100, we are setting pin number 2 and 3 as high. And when centimeter value is less than 100, if it is less than 100, then all the three of them are high. Okay, so if it is less than 300, all of them will be high. Okay, clear? Getting my point? Okay, I hope this part is clear to all of you. Okay, so here nothing difficult is there. What you will be doing is, you have to calculate the distance as per requirement. Okay, and as per your project, you can set the values. Okay, so if the centimeter value is showing as low, you can set as per whatever you require. Okay, so depending upon different project, you can do it. So where this can be applied, that is the important thing. Okay, so here I have used LED. It's not a big project, but where actually this kind of project can be applied, that you have to understand. Okay, so you might have seen automobiles these days, yes or no? So what happens uh, if there is an accident? So what happens? Generally, you might have seen a balloon comes up. Not in Indian vehicles we have seen, but in America and all, if you will see, the vehicles have become very sophisticated. Before accident only, the balloon will be inflated, okay, and the passengers will be saved if there is an accident. So how it actually happens? So they are actually, what they are doing, they are connecting these kind of ultrasonic sensors towards the front of the vehicle and the back of the vehicle. Okay, now what will happen if any over speeding vehicle is coming towards your own vehicle, then what will happen? The distance will start reducing. Okay, so once the distance is reduced to a very critical value, and still the vehicle is over speeding and going to hit your vehicle, what can be done? Instead of switching on the LEDs, what we'll do, we will be switching on the balloons which is present inside, that will be inflated, and before hitting the vehicle it will be inflated, and what will happen, the person sitting inside the vehicle will be safely, will be in a safe condition even if there is an accident. Okay, so this is really a very good application. Okay, and if you just think carefully, you can use it in many places. Okay, like as it is a COVID situation now, suppose you want to maintain a distance from others, so you can create a ultrasonic based a small device, and you can connect somewhere in your body, and if someone is trying to come near to you, alarm can be switched on. Okay, or a small vibration can be switched on, so that it can tell you that someone is coming near to you. You can move forward from that person. Okay, you can look alongside yourself, and you will see that someone is approaching you. You can tell that person, okay, it's a COVID situation, let's be at a distance. Okay, so you don't have to always look here and there and see whether person is near to you or far. That device will directly tell you whether any person is coming near to you or not. Okay, any obstacle is near to you or not. Okay, it will tell you, and based on that you can decide, and you can maintain a safe distance and protect yourself from the coronavirus, yes or no? So this is just a very simple example which I'm trying to show you. Okay, so in this way there are many applications of ultrasonic sensor. Just think, innovatively, you guys, and you also can suggest me some good projects, and if you are interested, we can together do that project as well. Okay, so I hope you have understood how this ultrasonic sensor works, as well as the LDR sensor or the photoregisters. I hope you have understood both of them. If you have any query, you can ask me anytime. And still now, if you have any query, you can ask me now also. Okay, with this, I'm winding up today's class. Thank you, everyone.